In business news, experts say the deregulation of the downstream sector will improve the efficient use of scarce resources and the scarcity of products and improve the sector's operations and will be governed by market rules. A senior partner, commercial and energy practice, Mr. Israel Aye, earlier on Business Nigeria, said the regulation will reduce economic waste, open up market space and allow market-determined prices.
What we want to see is that the cost of doing business is managed. Now, any business is, or any company is in business to make profit, in business to stay afloat. If you're in an environment that challenges your ability to do that, you're likely to exit. You're likely to go and find where it's cheaper to do business. You're likely to move on to other jurisdictions. So
when it comes to the deregulation, deregulated regime, you can no longer fix prices, but you can regulate prices. And what it means is that you should have a framework, very clear framework, that takes into consideration how petroleum products prices are arrived at. And those would include things like the feedstock costs, freight, exchange rates, port charges, lightering charges, perhaps a margin for financing costs, jetting charge, storage, distribution, perhaps tax, and of course, there will probably be a department within the midstream authority that benchmarks, some of those inputs so that it's not a free for all. Again, that's what price regulation looks like, and yes, within that sort of framework, then players who have the license and the resources to be able to go in might find the incentive to do so.
Or back to the Lagos Chamber of Commerce and Industry, and is concerned that there may be more inflationary pressures in the coming months due to the volatility of the Naira as well as lagged effects of subsidy removal. The Director General at Lagos Chamber of Commerce and Industry, Dr. Chinyere Alumna, better minds on this development.
What we want to see is that the cost of doing business is managed. Now, any business is, or any company is in business to make profit, in business to stay afloat. If you're in an environment that challenges your ability to do that, you're likely to exit. You're likely to go and find where it's cheaper to do business. You're likely to move on to other jurisdictions. So we need to have in place the policies that will ensure that the ease of doing business is promoted and held as sacrosanct, so that companies can see that government is making an effort. For me, the issues to be dealt with, they're multifaceted, and we need to have a coordinated way of managing them so that companies we don't want to hear any more companies exiting, because it has been very, very in business. Yeah, the cost of doing business is high. And when you think about the cost of power, the cost of infrastructure, you have to create your own infrastructure, and the fact that even when you do have the product, the purchasing power of the populace is so low that then you're having to stockpile. So really it has been challenging, and we hope that this government will be able to deal with some of these factors.
Nigeria and Germany are seeking stronger economic ties with one another. This is against the backdrop of existing bilateral cooperation between the two. This was the thrust of discussions at a meeting between Nigeria's fiscal authorities and the German counterparts. Lara Folayon reports.
Nigeria's economic ties with Germany dates back so many decades, and it keeps getting stronger. One of such ties is Nigeria being Germany's second largest trading partner in sub-Saharan Africa. The two countries are now seeking ways of deepening existing ties by way of discussing and exchanging views on future bilateral cooperation, as well as provide a forum for a coordinated approach to enhance the economic cooperation between the two countries. The Finance, Budget and National Planning Authorities acknowledge existing areas that the German government is currently supporting Nigeria, which aligns with the country's National Development Plan.
Skill development for youth employment, SKY. Digital solution for sustainable development in Nigeria. Then the priority area number 2 is transformation of agri-food systems and some of its aspects are, one, the green innovation centers for the agriculture sector, GIAE. The other one is promotion of agricultural finance for agri-based enterprises in rural areas.
The fiscal authorities highlight areas that require attention to include the 1974 Technical Cooperation Agreement governing the two nations' relations that needs to be reviewed. They also assure commitment towards achieving mutual objectives of the Nigeria-German Development Cooperation.
1974, that agreement was signed, the Technical Cooperation Agreement governing our relationships. This time is due for review because some of to update some of the provisions in this agreement. And already discussion has been initiated by us with the Federal Ministry of Foreign Affairs and also the embassy here in Nigeria.
The German authorities, on their part, seek ways of new engagement, the new Africa strategy, and how the Sahel Alliance can boost economic and development cooperation.
What we can see is that at the moment the region is and its neighbors are facing a growing number of threats of forceful changes of government, just in Niger, growing destabilization threats from terrorism, from food insecurity, and also by climate change. And the task to be addressed by the international community are growing significantly with these threats. And in order to succeed worldwide, we need partnership, we need networks.
Nigeria and Germany have agreements to boost cooperation on areas of stabilization and security, as well as energy transition and climate action. Lara Folayo, TVC News, Abuja.
The stock market closed the week in red following sustained losses. Let's join Effiong Gekop for detailed reports on markets.
Attempts by the market on Thursday to regain strength was not sustained Friday as trading pattern moved in red where stock prices dipped further. Consistent sales behavior by many investors has caused price drops over 2 weeks. Weekend trades showed downward trend of 0.03%, throwing up losses on investments. It was Beja Paints that incurred the biggest loss, calculated at half of a percentage point. Cadbury also traded its shares downward. Other losers were Champion Breweries, Custodian Insurance, and Academy Press. Dangote Cements led some marginal price gainers. Outside Nigeria, African stock markets traded in mixed territories. The market in Johannesburg, South Africa dipped by a large margin as falling stock prices affected mining and manufacturing sectors. The stock market in Nairobi, Kenya also closed negative. Finally, the stock exchange in Accra, Ghana ended deals in the positive territories as domestic investors took positions on local equities. Effiong Gekop, TVC News, Lagos.
Top cryptocurrency Bitcoin hit a fresh 2-month low today, breaking out of its recent tight range as a wave of risk sentiment gripped world markets. On Thursday, Bitcoin fell 7.2% in its biggest one-day drop since November 2022, when top exchange FTX collapsed. It then slipped to a 2-month low at $26,172 during Asian trading hours, its lowest since June 16, and had partly recovered to $26,478, down 0.6%. Global markets have been hit by a wave of selling, with Wall Street's main indexes closing lower on Thursday and Asian shares heading for a third week losses over concerns about China's economy and fears that U.S. interest rates would stay higher for longer, given a resilient economy.